welcome everyone. Start out by saying the pledge and then a prayer. Everybody look and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this beautiful day you blessed us with once again. As we go forward here in our meeting, just help us make decisions for our county and our ambulance service to the best of our ability. Guide, govern, and protect us as we go forward throughout the day, dear Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, we have two sets of minutes that we need to approve. One is for the regular meeting, ambulance meeting for the month of March, and then the other one is for the special meeting we had at the ambulance service, which was legally posted and took place in early March also. So could I have a motion to approve the minutes of those two meetings?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Phil, seconded by Rondell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right. Mr. Director, go ahead and turn it over to you. Where do you want to start today?
Well, I got the, on our deposits for the month of March, we were at $123,076.62. Our training deposits were $150. Fuel costs for the month of March was $41.32.80. And then, of course, we got the stipend as well, which was $32,656.17. Total runs we had were 232 total runs. Any questions so far?
Yeah. Looks like that was up a little bit.
Uh,
The run volume.
Yeah, run volume was up, and so was the, deposits, because, January, February was kind of not very good months as far as deposits went. March was up there. Ambulance, I know the building service ran a little behind, so that may have been part of the reason why we had more deposits than what that might have been what, for the increase as far as that goes. So, but 0622, we got it back in service, still having issues with it. It's doing the same thing it was doing before. Called down and talked to WK and everything. They pretty much said drive it till it breaks, and then they'll be able to maybe figure it out then. They couldn't figure it out. They done a computer update on it and stuff of that nature, and they still have they can't get it to replicate what it was doing with some of the other crews and things. So I don't know really where we're going to stand on that truck until we get something figured out on it. But
Is that the one that was at Little
yeah, it was all
Allstate said they couldn't find nothing wrong with it. The manufacturer, Ford rep, said they couldn't see anything wrong with it. We got old WK, because when we got it back from down there, motors seems to be doing okay. We've got, it's got about 2,500 miles on it now, probably, since we got it back.
Probably not even that much.
Probably not even that much, but the transmission's still doing the same thing as what it was doing. Went down and talked with Eric from WK. They brought it in, they kept it for 2 days, got it multiple times. Couldn't replicate it, couldn't find nothing wrong with it, crawled under. There was an update that needed to be done to it that involved the transmission. They done the update, it's still doing it. Warranty has got like 4,000, 5,000 more miles on it. So my question is, since it's been to Ford, if it breaks, what's outside the warranty is for still going under that transmission. I reckon that'd be a question to you, Bubba.
Usually if you've got documentation, they will back you up as far as what's been done in the past, even if it goes out of the warranty that they put on once the engine was replaced and all that. It's kind of like a goodwill program that they have where if there's ongoing issues and it's the same thing, usually you can get that taken care of. A lot of that though typically comes down to what kind of relationship you have with your field rep, which I think WK and our guy that is our rep is on the same page with a lot of things. So typically we don't have a whole lot of problems getting those things fixed even after they are out of warranty if it's been something that's been a documented ongoing problem. And I know that motor transmission combination has been an ongoing problem, not just in ambulances, trucks, whatever. So just keep your documentation and, you know, I guess like he said, just drive it. And I mean, not let everybody, which I'm sure everybody's driving it, they know that it could do that at some point in time. But I just keep driving it like they told you. That's about all you can do if they don't have an answer on what to do to fix it. And sometimes that's the case, you know, it's hard to find an answer for it. So,
What does it do or not do?
Scott can probably explain it better than I can. Since he
It's
drives
got
it.
like a little pickup when it shifts from first to second. Like if you're slowing down and then you ease back into the gas, it feels like the transmission slips and then it catches real hard.
it's stud or like
No, it just kind of revs up a little bit and then it'll catch.
catching gear.
Like you're riding the clutch.
It's probably, you know, a lot of that is in these electronic shifting of the transmission. A lot of that's controlled by electronics now, not mechanical like it was in the past. So we have those issues, you know, that it's just design and
Is the same rep that we have also the same one that down at Allstate?
yeah, it would have been the
Why
same.
why can't we meet with the service rep?
Well, they typically won't meet with an individual. You know, it's whenever you go into the.
They will.
Huh?
If you make enough noise, they will.
Yeah, well, I can give you the number if you want to call them, but they very seldom do they ever. It's all usually handled through your service writer or your service manager. Because they only call those guys in when there's an issue or something like that, where it's an ongoing issue. Other than that, they don't get involved. They usually take the sales or service manager's word for it if he turns in a warranty claim. The only time those guys get involved if it's something like this where they can't fix it or they can't figure out exactly what's wrong with it, then they'll call that engineer in and have him, give them advice on what to do to fix it.
But they are working with us, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think you'll
They're
have.
not dragging their feet on anything,
I don't think you'll have any problems with it going forward if there continues to be an ongoing issue or if for some reason, honestly, we don't want it to go down, but sometimes that's the best thing that can happen. If it does just quit, something breaks, then they know what to do to fix it. A lot of times when it's sporadic like this and doesn't do it all the time, like you said, that you'll take it in. If they can't duplicate the problem, they don't know what to do to fix it.
Yeah.
So,
Drive it.
just drive the tar out of
Drive
it,
the tar out of it.
hopefully.
Where is it?
2020.
Yeah, it's a newer one.
How many miles is it?
45 now. 45,000. And then 44 we went to 44076, something like that, and went down to Allstate. And we put it back in service since. Took it back out of service for a few days whenever WK, and then we got it back on front line, just trying to see if what it's gonna do.
Okay. Well, keep us up to date on what's going on with that, if you would, so we're aware of it.
Got 3 positions filled. We had one that was vacant before I took over in the 1st of March. And then we had, we went ahead, it was a medic spot that when he left, that opened up a medic position, or he was a medic when he left, I'm sorry. Then we, of course, my spot, I needed a medic for that spot. We went ahead and we hired 2 EMTs. So we did hire 1 medic. He's a guy out of Louisville. His name is Joshua Darnell. Seems to be a pretty good guy. Seems like he's working out. He's not worked full time. He just started full time just Tuesday. But as far as his scheduled shifts go, but I think he's a good kid. I think he's going to work out pretty good. Like I said, right now, currently the staff is full. Like I said, but we've brought up two of our part-time people into those full-time spots. We had to actually bring up 2 of the, what I call dependable part-time into the full-time. So we're kind of back to square one on part-time stuff, but I'm hoping that'll pick up some. So,
So you are short on part-time right now?
technically, yeah, we're not real short on part-time. We're just short on the output on what they, you know, we're having some trouble. We're managing to get stuff filled, but it's a struggle to get it filled. But like I said, I'm hoping that them were the 2 that we counted on the most to work on a part-time basis. They were pretty good about short notices and things like that. But unfortunately, the application input we got was not real good. So we just went with what we had.
Then you always have to deal with the situation where on-call, part-time, they live out of county. That creates a problem.
Yep, that does. Yeah, that's the problem there, so. In the chase vehicles, we got those brought up to par. They had, the one I was in it didn't have a lot of the required stuff on it that is required to be on it. I was missing a wrecking bar, was missing a hammer, was missing some equipment. We had to purchase some equipment to replenish what we used out of our stock to put in that vehicle to get it up to par. But both of them are now up to par, so they got the required equipment on them that's required by the state of Indiana to have on there. I do want to note that there was some damage to the one I'm driving that was there prior to me taking over. I don't know how it occurred, when it occurred. There was some damage to the left front fender and also to the air dam underneath the bumper. I don't know how it happened, don't know when it occurred, don't know, but it wasn't me. So I just wanted to make that note.
Been like that for a while, seems like.
Has it?
I think I heard something about that almost a year ago.
Really?
Can't remember exactly what the details were though, but it was supposed to have been fixed.
Was it?
Can you find any kind of estimate or anything where they,
I can get one. I have it, yeah, because it looks like the paint, you know how the paint on their bumpers do, when they crinkle a little bit, they'll start flaking. And it's starting to flake now on it, so.
probably ought to go ahead and get 1 or 2 estimates.
Do that.
I know most of your body shops are 5-6 months out
Yeah,
as far as repair time, you know,
Yeah.
they can even bring them in. So I'd hurt to go ahead and get that done.
good.
It's not let it linger. Sometimes it can
Yeah.
create other issues.
Yeah, so I'll get that taken care of.
Did you have the brakes fixed then?
Yeah. Yeah,
New rotors?
yeah. Yeah, they had to put new rotors on all the way around. I about had a stroke when I seen the bill. It was like, woo! But they had to put new rotors on, new pads all the way around on it, so they put some rotors on it with grooves in the back. which is supposed to help with the warping and stuff of the rotors. So hopefully that'll trim it out. Another thing, the mileage on it, I've drove it since I've had it. I've drove it about 260 miles, and it was getting per week. It was getting just 200 miles per week, just driving back and forth to, where they were living at. So the mileage has been cut back drastically on it. So
Yeah.
hopefully that'll help some.
Yeah.
And the other thing he's going to bring up was this District 8 truck I talked to you about the other day, Todd, and that truck needs it had one. It's got a light bar on it, had the grill lights already on it when we got it.
Yeah.
The bar light on it, I took it down to John, it had one little flashing light on it in the middle. That was it. The grill lights didn't even work. The siren on it works, it's okay. And the light in the back glass is working and it's okay. But the bar light, took it down to John Jones, they looked at it and said that the bar light was so old that if they did get power packs for it, if they could still get power packs for it, and by the time they would fix it, labor and everything else, they said it would be cheaper just to put a new bar light on it. And the grill lights the same way. Got an estimate from John Jones down there on that, and labor, the light bar, grill lights and labor and everything is $2,600. I know it's not used very often, it's not, but it is, if it is used, it is checked into it is our responsibility to keep the truck servicing up to par. So, I did get that estimate. I wanted to wait on it because I wanted to ask before I spent that kind of money on it to make sure it was okay before I done that. So I tried to call that number Todd you gave me for the grant money. That lady's not called me back yet. I got the number I called was the Community Learning Center. She finally called me back yesterday and said it was they're in the same building but different people. So,
Yeah.
but I've not heard anything on that yet.
Did I give you the number to the secretary or director of the District 8? Or do you have that?
I've got that. I don't have it in front of me, but I've got it.
Okay.
Desi, emailed me quite a bit of stuff back on it, so.
Before we spend any money on that, somewhere there is supposed to be in existence a mobile command vehicle use agreement. Now, I understand this goes all the way back to 2007 or 8.
Yeah.
But, and maybe in the end, we are responsible for upkeep, but thing about it is, there's 7 other counties that use this or can use it.
Right.
I know 2 counties only do it on what you call a regular basis, but on the other hand, the thing, it's getting some age on it. It's going to require some maintenance, and maybe the agreement states that we are 100% responsible, but before we go spending money on it.
I talked to Michael Medlock,
Yeah,
and he was the daddy behind that thing when that happened, or when we got that. And I was asking him about it, and he was saying that the grant and everything said that we would be responsible for the upkeep of the vehicle. The thing of it is, I also talked to Desi, if another county requests it, like in that district, if another county requests it, then they're responsible for replenishing the equipment back on if they use it. The only thing that worries me is if it's deployed by the Department of Homeland Security, it could go anywhere. It could go anywhere in Indiana, it could go to Florida. If they, you know, and the only thing that worries me is if, you know, we get it and then they say, well, you know, look at this thing, ain't nothing working on it very well, so. Homeland Security out, that would be my only, you know, only thing of that, but like I said, when I talked to Michael about it, like I said, he was the daddy behind getting that, and, he was telling me about that at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
the information in the grant itself says what you just said, but it also says there's supposed to be an agreement, like an interlocal agreement between the 7 counties within District 8. And I think before we go, you know, spending $3,000 or $4,000 on this thing, that we ought at least try to look and see if that agreement exists. You might, I don't know if it'd do any good to call Troy Nicholson and ask him if he recalls anything like this, that maybe there's an agreement, or maybe
Yeah, I'm not sure.
a slight chance you might dig through some old files up there. Mike, do you recall ever running across anything like that?
I've been involved with that for quite some time, and it's always been, we're responsible for it.
Right,
We cover the insurance on it.
right,
If another county requests it, we deploy a team to it, and we're pretty much, that truck to be used as 2 things. Number 1 is a grocery store for trauma. We roll it to wherever, if Orange County requests it, we go over there. Only takes really 1 or 2 people, and whatever they might need off of it, we keep a list of what goes off of it. Then we bill back to Orange County or whatever county we're going to, and they're responsible for paying us back to replenish that truck.
yeah.
We have just put tires on it here a couple of years ago, brakes, we do all the oil changes on it, trailer's got new tires on it. We talked to Desi, 2 LEPC meetings ago about some of the stuff that was on it. It's basically trauma supplies, they do have expiration dates on it, and when Nick was here, they did look into it. Technically, yeah, it's expired, but as long as the packages and everything are good, they're really not, they're not usable, I reckon, is the word I'm looking for, put it in layman's terms. But there is stuff, pretty much all the trauma supplies on there have expired. Desi said there was no way they could put LEPC money back into that to replace some of that stuff, and it's a lot of stuff that have trash. Each thing's on there, it's not that expensive, it's just the amount of it on there that has to be replaced. You're probably looking at $3,000 or $4,000 to replace some of that. As far as the maintenance and everything, it's the way I've always understood it for the last 15, 20 years is we're responsible for it. We pretty much stayed up. It's only got 23,000 miles on the truck. The trailer's probably not even got 1,000 miles on it.
Are we the owners of the truck? Is it titled to?
The way I understood it, we was the owners of the truck. Kyra, if I remember right, does have the title to the truck. We do own the truck now. That was done under Troy several years ago, if I remember right. That didn't happen in the beginning, but it did happen about 5, 6, 7 years ago or so. But we are, the way I've always understood it through Troy, Scott, Nick, that we was responsible for it. We've always done the upkeep on it. So, and right now, the only thing it really needs is a light. We worked on it last winter before we took it out, and we was using it during the bad winter storms as our backup truck, getting people in and out. We did take that bar light apart, and we got working, but now it's another year into it. The grease just ain't making it keep working. It's just wore out. So the truck itself is still a good truck. It just needs the emergency lights on it.
Have you checked with Brent? He come down Tuesday at our meeting and said they had all kinds of light bars out there that
We've got an old antique light bar upstairs on the board right now. It's kind of like what's on the old Porter Mobile, the Explorer they got sitting out back. Just an old big old one, the big old red ones. It's just a strobe. It's not, and it's, I don't even know if it works. It worked when we got it, and I don't remember what the hell we took it off of. I think it was old 0622, 2 trucks ago. And it's sitting upstairs.
Problem is that truck, it's got a system, it's got a system in it. It's got several pattern controls in it with that light bar that's on it. And it has, I mean, my God, there's probably, what, 20, 25 different patterns of that thing?
There's a lot of different
Yeah,
patterns.
and Brad Danner, John Jones was telling me, he said if they went with another light bar, we could still use that same control. He said if you go with an older light bar or something, he said you'll have to take that old control, you'll have to take that panel out. So it's got a whole different, it's just for LED light bars pretty much. And the older light bars are halogen lights, so.
And the trailer, the county did buy us a big generator. LEPC did put another big generator on it. It's more for the county's use. We've used it a few times back before the county, the dispatch got their generators and everything up there to keep our dispatch running about 3 different times, as I can remember right. So there's another big generator that our county's put in on it, plus the generators that the Homeland Security put on it. And we do routine maintenance checks on them twice a year, making sure they all start, so.
All right, well, you might just look around before we go spending the money on it, just in case, you might look around for an agreement, because one of the requirements of this grant when this was purchased is the fact that you are supposed to have a mobile command vehicle use agreement with the other, what they call sub-grantees, which are the other counties. So somewhere, someone has a copy of this agreement because it had to have existed to satisfy the qualifications for the grant. So you guys could, even if you have to call who is it, Clark County and Orange County are the main ones that use it, what, twice a year or something? One for a...
Clark County's District 9.
Yeah, Clark County's not in our district.
Really, the only people that's used that has been us. We got requested to be on standby twice during the riots there a few years ago with Lowell and Floyd. We got requested to be on standby, so we had it hooked up, and a few of us was ready just to hop in the truck and deploy if it needed to be. But that's the only time it's been requested lately, other than our own personal use, where we've used it at the fair last year during the heat. We've used it out at Speedway a couple of times a few years ago, back during the heat. We used it during the tornadoes, and again, we used it during the electrical outlets. You know, we pulled it up there to dispatch to keep our communication systems going. So we've used it more than anybody else really has. And Troy took it up to the Scatattack Refuge, about 4 or 5 years ago for the big national disaster training thing, and they went up and done that national disaster training thing with it. So.
Sure. All right, nothing, anything else?
On a lighter note, who's our grass cutting? Who's going to be doing that this year? Anybody got any ideas?
Buford's supposed to.
Okay, I didn't know if he. I thought somebody said he'd been ill or something.
He
Uh,
was gonna, last I heard, of course, we've had rain here in the past, and the grass will start to grow.
yeah, it's getting tall. Yeah,
But, he did state that he wanted to continue.
continue doing it. Okay,
That's what
answer that question.
only is still maintenance. Toy him around, not you. Unless you want it,
Do
unless you want it.
Going on the grass too.
I? Might as well.
So,
I have up there a few times with my mower. Sure did a couple of years ago. Yeah.
until Buford gets back in service, I haven't seen him around, I haven't seen him on the ambulance service, or the old ambulance service on Anson, but do we want to have somebody else go up there and mow that instead of, I mean, you don't know when Buford's coming back, do you?
I haven't, I'll call him today to find out when,
Okay.
if he can do it.
I mean, I can mow it. I mean, I've got.
But you gotta have a mower, right?
Huh?
You need a mower, right?
No, I've got a mower. I've got a zero.
But you don't have one on.
No, I don't have one up there. No.
Yeah, well, we don't expect you to do that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've done it in the past, if that's something, you know, if he's coming back on, if he's, I just, like I said, I heard he'd been ill, I didn't know if he was gonna be doing it this year or not, so,
We'll find out today,
okay.
because that grass, it doesn't slow down this time.
No, it doesn't, especially.
And it's not been mowed at all yet?
No,
Boy, it's probably ready to fail with it. Okay.
and another thing we're trying to do is, you know, we're trying to trim costs where we can. I mean, it's a struggle with the prices, the way things are today, but we're getting supplies, we're trying to order supplies when they're on sale, through Boundtree and stuff. Sometimes they'll knock stuff down pretty cheap, where we can order quite a bit of stuff and get it, that way we'll have it. And, we're trying to save money on that end of the spectrum as well, so I just wanted to let you guys know that. And,
Go ahead.
one more thing, you guys may already know it, but Medicaid rates are going up July 1st. Currently, the Medicaid rates are for BLS $110, and for ALS it's $160. The new rates effective July 1st, the BLS will be $374, and the ALS will be $444. The mileage rate for Medicaid at the old rate was $331 for BLS and $441 for ALS. The new rate's going to be $8.10 across the board. So whether it's BLS or ALS, they're going to pay $8.10 a mile. So that will help some as far as getting them rates up.
That will help a lot.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on the Medicaid rate? Is that already went up?
No, not till July 1st.
Not
The
July
Medicare rate, the Medicare rate.
Medicare, she told me, Heather told me the Medicare rates will probably stay about the same.
Yeah, Medicare.
She said, it may go up maybe 1 or 2%. She said, but they're gonna stay the same, in which basically Medicaid is coming up to Medicare rates.
That's basically at the Medicare rate.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
But
So
we're
they're
losing money on 40% of our runs, which right now on Medicaid runs, we're losing money on Medicaid runs.
Yeah,
Flat out losing money. At least at this rate, we'll at least be trying to break even, and Medicaid is about 40% of our runs. So they put you in a hole right off the bat, trying to make up for the other 60%, which we know the other 60% is not paying that well, and a good chunk of them don't even pay, so.
so at least that'll help, you know, I think that'll help us out quite a bit, you know, later on in the year, so. Then the other thing, is going to try to bring up is these, refusal, rates that we have, like I said, $100 for the BLS, $300 for the ALS. I've gotten I've gotten probably 4 phone calls this month on people complaining about their bill as far as getting billed for a refusal rate. Philip, I know you talked to the one, when she called me, I talked to her 2 or 3 times. Todd, I know you did talk back to her as well.
Yeah.
We're running into, what we're running into, I mean, I can see it from both sides of the fence. What we're running into is people are complaining pretty much that if we get there and we can't take them where they want to go, then they don't feel like they should get billed for that. I don't know what the answer is to that. I really don't. I mean, currently, we try to take people where they want to go, but unfortunately, sometimes we can't because we're either the only truck around. You know, if there's just one truck in the county, we really try to keep that truck in the county because of the fact that, you know, we can't really depend on mutual aid requests. You know, that's hit and miss. And, you know, had a conversation there with Rick about it, and, you know, the problem is with that, when you depend on another county for a mutual aid request, if something would happen in their county, well, they're gonna leave and go do that, and the communication is usually not transpired over, like they would call like 88 and say, well, you know, we advise Washington County, we gotta terminate the request because we gotta run in our county, we gotta go to or something. So we can't really depend a lot on mutual aid. And so, like I said, the people, I mean, I can see why people complain, I really can, about it. You know, because of the fact they don't feel like you said, they should have to pay because a lot of them, you don't want to go somewhere else and at the time we're unable to meet that request. I mean, people have the right to go where they want to go, I understand that. You know, and if it was something that we try to kind of keep it in the prospect, if it's something that needs to go to a higher level of care, then we will do it irregardless. I mean, a lot of times you ain't got a choice. I mean, if somebody's having a heart attack, you know, we ain't gonna bring it back up here. You know, we're gonna try to take them to a cath lab capable hospital, which is Floyd County, closest around is Floyd for that. So that's what we are, a stroke or something like that. I mean, it's every once in a while, the world comes to an end and we have to make a decision. Sometimes we have to come up here, but you know, we try to get them where they want to go, but sometimes we can't. And a lot of the runs are, they could, I mean, I understand people want to see their doctors, and people want to go where they're more comfortable with and stuff, but you know, a lot of times it's not somebody just with a fever or something like that could go elsewhere, and if we're the only truck available, and we try to tell them we can bring it back up here, that way we can keep the truck available, and sometimes that's hard to explain to people, and I understand that. And I mean, every run to them is an emergency, you know, when compared to us, it's not, but I understand that, but, you know, and they don't, a lot of times they can't understand that. Just like the conversation I had with the lady the other day, you know, she was saying, well, it's not my fault, Washington County doesn't have the equipment. I said, well, equipment ain't really got anything to do with it. But I don't know. I know it's, like I said, it's $100 for a BOS refusal, and it's a $300 rate, and I wasn't aware of that until I just took this job over, so I didn't realize there was two different refusal rates. So, but there, if it's an ALS refusal, and it's $300.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Phil, did you have anything you want to discuss further about this, or?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And Tony's made some good points. And I don't know how to start. Now, I've thought about it. I don't know where we changed it at. I don't know where it got changed.
I mean, as far as,
When we took over, as far as the trucks leaving the county.
I thought it was always like that.
Well, it has been. Really started, the teeth got put into it. There was an incident several years ago, I know you was on the board, where we had somebody that showed up for on call, an individual that was a political head in the city, didn't get an ambulance, had to wait because we had trucks, at that time, we had all 3 trucks out of the county. One was on transfer, 2 took 911 runs to Floyd or wherever they went. I don't remember exactly, but that's when it really all got teeth put into it, was about taking trucks out of the county that didn't need to go, kind of like what Tony alluded to, for a life or death, for a life or limb situation, where I've been vomiting the last 2 days. I've got the flu, take me to Floyd situations, and that's where the teeth got put into it. That one incident where the person didn't come in for the on call, that's where it really got put into place, was for all that.
I know back when we started, I know our call was more than it is today. I do know that. But to me, an ambulance service, when it started, should be the protection to save lives.
Yes, you are
In the case,
exactly
and I'm gonna use that case the other day, where the lady was 14 miles from Floyd County, or 17 miles back up here. She did ask for her husband to go, and of course I got one side of the story, and then we got the other side from you. I'm not throwing no blame nowhere. I think we need the best damn service we can provide. We know it's a situation, and this is where it sounds hard. We do have to look at the money issue, because I've seen a lot of requests that requires us to furnish money. So I feel like we're responsible on both sides, to the taxpayer and to the patient. And you got a heck of a job to do both ways. I do know that. I don't like the standpoint, and we all know, I don't want to go to Salem either, especially now. But I don't like the way we got it.
I don't either. I mean, I'll agree with you, though. I don't like that either.
I'm not throwing blame on you.
No, I'm not, no, I know. I do. I mean,
When you guys come, I've told Rick about it. My mother, they called me, my sister did, said Mom was talking gibberish. And when I got there, she was talking gibberish. So I called the ambulance service. Back then, it was Stewart's.
oh, yeah,
It goes back a ways.
that goes back a ways.
And they come down, and the boy asked me, he said, "What's your mother's name?" I said, "Virginia." He went walking in the room, he said, "How are you, Virginia?" And she just talked to him like normal. I thought, what have I heard? Because I couldn't understand, I thought she was talking German. And so they checked her out, said everything was okay. So they left. Well, that night, Mom called me on the phone. I don't know how she done it, but she did. And she was talking gibberish. Well, they come down. When I got up there, she was talking gibberish, and I called them. They come down. They said, they can't find nothing wrong. What do you want to do? I said, let's take her to the hospital and find out what's going on. So it started out 3:35, and all of a sudden she had a stroke. So we don't know what can happen.
No,
As good as you guys are, I commend you for what you do. But what bothers me was if the woman's husband, when she asked us to go to Floyd County in a possible heart situation, and I understand he did cancer, or found out he had cancer afterwards. I don't like what we've done, because it could have happened to him too, the same as it happened to me. And I think we need to change that rule somehow. And I don't know how we do it. We had a meeting up here, as Todd said, our first meeting, we said 3 hours, and I never heard the scanner go off at all. And I know there's times you're covered up.
Oh, yeah, it's just, you can't predict it. I mean,
There's times we're not.
right. Yeah, it goes both ways. You can't predict it.
No.
And, you know, I mean, I had that particular situation, you know, I talked to the other crew member just yesterday about it. I talked to the one crew member about it a couple of weeks ago when she called. And I talked to the other crew member, because I was under the assumption he wrote it up, he didn't. And I talked to the other crew member that wrote the run up. And I asked her, I said, technically on that particular run, he was having an issue that he has a chronic issue with, but he was refusing, she told me he was refusing to go anywhere when they got there. Yeah, that was the first.
And that's what she told me. Scares me.
Yeah,
That's what she told us.
You can't kidnap them.
But you can't force them to go.
What the family members are saying, if you can sit there and answer every question appropriately, I don't care if your wife says, your grandma says, you're going to the hospital, you're taking them, they don't understand, it's kidnapping, and we go to jail if somebody pressed the issue. So you can't kidnap them.
you can't.
And I understand that, and it is, it's a hard situation, but that's when you gotta look at the family member and go, we need your help.
I have,
Hey, Rick, talk Todd into going, you know, we need your help, I can't make him go, but if we sit here and talk to him, maybe, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't,
He ain't gonna make it.
and he's gonna make it.
but, we had another situation that I pretty much felt like I've addressed, I had a situation, where a truck went out on a call out on 160. That was almost out there by Yankee Town. Truck got out there and, it was, I've heard this for a long time and it was, I never agreed with it, I never did, but, it was, well, we can't take you there because we're the only medic truck available. Well, technically they weren't. When I'm there during the day, I'm a medic. I'll get on the damn truck if I have to. Mike is there, we're there. So I don't want crews going out here saying that. I mean, sometimes we just have one medic truck on due to staffing issues. But we can't use that excuse to say we're the only medic truck on, that we can't take you there. I mean, people have the right to go where they want to go. I understand that. But, you know, as far as them saying, well, I can't take it because I'm the only medic truck, and it ain't gonna happen no more, because it's not. You know, the state of Indiana, we can have 20 ambulances out there at that station, and we got one medic truck on, we meet that quota. That's it. That's all you gotta have. I mean, are you always gonna get a medic? No, you're not. But you know, we just have to, it's like I was having a conversation yesterday, I said, you could have an ambulance on every block, and people are still gonna complain that you didn't get there fast enough, or people are still gonna complain about something. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. But, you know, but I'm trying to realign that. I mean, if we have an on-call available, then we will take them where they want to go. You know, and that's our issue. That's the problem we've had is we've had, you know, we've had two trucks. That situation there, the other truck was already heading to Floyd County from another part of the county. So that was that situation. But like I said, he was refusing to go anywhere when they first got